moderate trauma school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is how we do every day. We be grinding, and if you want to come and text us,
if you love them enough to turn off your music and pretend like their music is your music.
This is Mommy's jam.
Then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Let's play it again.
Check today at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job,
not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
Or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? Or a 14-year-old girl who signs up to every after-school activity, not to make friends, but just to get something to eat? Or a retiree who fell ill and had to choose
between getting medicine or groceries.
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew were hungry. I am hungered in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket as soon as the clock hits 0 for the Jay Foreman postgame show. Listen to expert analysis from the Husker Hall of Famer, an 8-year NFL veteran for 90 minutes after the game. The Jay Foreman postgame show, sponsored by Tanner's Bar and Grill, Vinny Kreekak, and Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action. Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into Ticket Weeknights. Again, I'm Harrison Arns running the 1s and 2s, and this is the Doane Athlete Project. We got a couple Doane athletes in here. First time on the mic for the Doane Athlete Project. We got Killian and Brandon. And I'll have you guys say your last name for me because I don't want to mispronounce it.
You go first. Bousfield.
Okay, easy enough. Orgable. Okay, those are exactly how you read them.
Yep.
Every now and then, that's concerned mine. Like, I don't want to butcher it for these guys.
I got you.
But nonetheless, you guys are both part of the Nebraska basketball team. Wow, you can tell that I'm from Lincoln. Doane basketball team. And you said you were a junior, correct? Or sophomore?
I'm a sophomore.
And then Killian,
I'm a junior. Yeah.
Okay, so how'd you guys, end up in Doane? Actually, we'll go further in the back. Where are you guys from originally? And where did basketball kind of become something that not only you recognize you're good at, but I can go to college for this?
Okay. Well, I'm from Elkhorn, Nebraska. For people who don't know, it's a suburb of Omaha. And basketball, I always watched my dad watch the NBA growing up. He's a big Dallas Mavericks fan.
Okay.
And that's kind of where I became a Dallas Mavericks fan as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I always thought it was so cool watching these stars play on TV.
Yeah, you got that Dirk Nowitzki era. I'm sure that was just awesome.
Oh, that was great. That was great. But I ended up, I think one of the things that kind of like, how do I say this? One thing I kind of picked up on was,
I think I like what back in the day. So like, obviously you got that interest in basketball, right? From watching the NBA. So what level, like what age group did you start playing basketball? Because some people, they'll pick it up like later in the road in high school and not even in elementary. So when was that kind of first time you picked up the ball and just start playing the sport?
I think everybody starts off with a little Tykes hoop when you're in kindergarten.
Those are the best years. You get the newspaper out. Who's on my team? I love that era.
I had my little Jason Terry jersey with the headband and the arm sleeve. But I think kindergarten or first grade, I went to my first basketball tryout. I was horrible, absolutely horrible. Had no idea what was going on, and my parents were a little mad at me after that one because they expected a little bit more because my dad played basketball.
Okay.
But then they signed me up for a rec basketball team in third grade. And, I was just okay. Came off the bench, scored 2 points. I would be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the last game of the season, I scored like 14 points. And then I was like, oh, wow, that was really fun.
Do you think it was like a confidence thing, or do you think it was like, okay, the game's slowing down? Things are clicking.
Honestly, no idea. I can't remember back that far. I barely remember what I had for dinner last night. So, but yeah. And then fourth grade comes around, fifth grade comes around, and we signed me up for like a select basketball team where there's an actual tryout, and you get to be put on a team based on your skill level. And that's when I got put on, I think, the third best team.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I played pretty well. Like, and I think that's when I started realizing, wow, I could really do something with this. And then like, as the years went by, I like got on higher and higher teams, eventually got to the top team in 8th grade. And then that's when I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do.
Now, you said your dad was a hooper?
He was.
At what level?
He played professionally down in Mongolia.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense. So he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
What is that kind of like for you to have a guy that's seen it at the pro level, be able to, kind of coach you up? I know some parents do it a little differently. Some dads are like, I'm going to be hands off. Some dads are like, I'm not going to tell you your coach is doing anything wrong, but if you need something, I'm always here for you. So what was that kind of like having a guy of his caliber, kind of watching your game as it grows?
Kind of nerve-wracking, at least when I was younger. Because he would, like, after games, if I did something wrong, he would always tell me, and I would be like, sometimes I'd get sick of hearing it, and I'd get nervous sometimes because if I have like a bad game, you have those car rides back.
Oh yeah.
And it's not fun. But I really appreciate it because he helped me a lot throughout my journey.
So like, at what point in time did you realize, because obviously you're young, you don't, it's like, okay, my dad's a pro player, you don't always think of it, but what age did you like realize, kind of like get that respect level, be like, okay, he does really know what he's talking about, like I should, perk my ears up and listen?
Probably in 8th grade when I played him one-on-one, and he's like 10 years out of the game, 34, and still beat me like 11 to like 5.
Humbling experience.
Humbling.
Yeah, the dad beating you in basketball, Man, I can't imagine how many times I challenged my brothers and my dads. And
Mhm.
for whatever reason, you have all the confidence in the world. Like, this is the game.
Yeah.
And you have those humbling experiences. But nonetheless, moving on. Killian, kind of your background, how you ended up at Doane, and same thing, where'd the passion for basketball come from?
So this is kind of a long story, but I was born in Ireland to start with. So
We're at in Ireland?
Dublin.
Okay.
So I never actually grew up playing basketball. Grew up playing different sports in Ireland. It's called Gaelic football and hurling. Then when I moved to England in 2016, a couple of my friends were like, "Hey, you're really tall. You should probably pick up basketball." So went to like a local league team. I messed around there for a couple of weeks. Was kind of interested in it, but I didn't enjoy it too much. But then one of the coaches of like a regional development team came to one of the sessions and was like, "Hey, you should come try out for the team. Whatever, we've got tryouts in a couple of weeks." It's like a summer league team.
Kind of like AAU would be over here
Yeah,
in the US.
almost, but it's split up into regions. So it's like I was in Northeast, so it's like Northwest, South.
Okay.
And then at the end of the summer, you go to like a big tournament down in London, and that's actually where Basketball England get a lot of their players from.
Really?
Yeah, it's a big scouting thing.
I did not realize that. That's good to know.
Yeah, so I went there, and then I switched teams to like a national league team, which was a bit more full on. Like we had regular training sessions and all. So yeah, kind of just found my passion from then.
So what age were you when you actually start playing?
I was probably about 15, 16.
Yeah, see, this is what I was talking about. There's some guys that they just walk in the gym and it's like, okay, it's clicking for them already.
Yeah.
So, like, what do you think for you? Like, why was it that it came so easy for you?
Being tall definitely helped,
Mhm.
but I just had great coaches that just believed in me. They were just like, "Hey, if you really want to do this, like, you could be good." And then I just really enjoyed it. There's just something about getting up and down the court, like seeing the ball go through the hoop, like.
It's a beautiful game to watch.
It is, and basketball energy is way different to anything that I'd ever done before. So,
were there any sports that either of you guys, obviously you kind of weren't always super interested in basketball? Were there other sports that you guys were like, I might want to do this instead?
For me, when I moved to England, no, not really. Once I found basketball, I didn't really have much time with school and stuff. But when I was in Ireland, definitely I would have played. If I had stayed there, I would have definitely played Gaelic football.
Really?
Hurling. Yeah. Was interested in cricket and swimming for a while, but I never really got into them. So I don't know about you, Brandon. But
I think after my senior year of track, I was really thinking about doing track as well.
You could have been a long jumper, right?
Yeah, long and triple, because I had a lot of fun my senior year of track. So I didn't know if I was really ready to step away from the sport.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually I was like, doing track is just kind of out of the blue for me because I've been doing basketball my whole life. I only did track in middle school and high school. So
it is a lot to come to college and be a dual sport athlete as well.
Yeah.
Especially with our basketball season.
Did you guys ever consider it? Being a two sport? Because I know what there's every now and then we'll have some Husker athletes that'll do two sport, and not that they're not trying, but it's usually like kind of 1 year, then they pick one because they kind of like you said that schedule is really brutal if you're doing two,
especially with classes.
Yeah, no, that's we had a dude that played basketball and did track last year, and he misses basketball. He quit basketball after his first year because he realized that one, he's better at track, and two, it's so much. Like he has to miss most of the indoor season for track because of basketball.
And that's such like a tune-up point to get you ready for outdoors.
And then like once you're in the outdoor season of track, you miss out on postseason work with us with basketball, and that's a lot to miss.
Yeah, we do a lot of school workouts and stuff.
Yeah.
So then I want to ask you this. Obviously, especially coming from Ireland, Dublin, I would love to know how you've picked out Doane, how you ended up in Nebraska. But we'll start with the easy one. Brandon, how'd you end up at, Doane University? What was it about Doane that you're like, you know what, this is a school that's a good fit for me?
I think my first visit here, I came in not many high expectations because it's a small school. But then as I got around campus more and more, I realized, wow, this is somewhere I legitimately could see myself going for 4 years. And we came for a game visit as well. I loved watching how they played because there's a lot of stuff going on. It was a great win.
Can you remember what game you came to?
It was Manhattan Christian at home. Yeah,
that was a good game.
That was a good game. And Um, Not only that, but Doane was also my only offer that I had to play for basketball out of high school. So,
Mhm.
I was like, if the stars are aligning, why not just take it up on?
Absolutely. And then, what was it about the coaches that you're like, this is something that, I trust these guys. Let's do it.
Let me think. Well, one thing I really liked about the coaches is that they reached out a lot, and obviously I can't talk about other in comparison of other coaches because I just didn't have offers like that. But the coaches would always text me, and not only that, but uh the players also, they made me feel like I belonged there, and I think that's something really important too.
Yeah, absolutely. And then switching over to Killian, Ireland, Dublin to middle of nowhere, Nebraska. How did we get here?
So out of how do I explain this? So essentially, when I was 16 to 18, I went to what's called a sixth form college. So
Okay.
it's essentially like the last 2 years of high school. Um, and then started playing basketball there, and that's when I kind of really realized, well, maybe I could do something, go to the States. So started making highlight videos, recruiting, getting my name out there.
So you're making your own highlight videos?
Yeah, well, I had my coach. He helped me a lot. Like, we
Okay.
clip game film, get that out there. He had a lot of coaches that we messaged. But then COVID hit, so a lot of athletes weren't getting recruited, especially overseas. So what I ended up doing was I took a gap year, went down to another basketball academy in Derby. Um, but again, wasn't really getting much. And then my cousin from Australia, he got recruited by Doane first. So he was on Twitter again, posting all this stuff. And I think Coach McKeithen or Coach Stryker, can't remember. I think it was McKeithen. Just hit him up. They got talking. Then coach was like, "Hey, do you know any other players?" And being my cousin, he was like, "Yeah, I know my cousin." So sent me all these details. And then one day I just got a random text from coach like, "Hey, it's Coach McKeithen from Doane Basketball. Are you free to talk?" And I was like, "Oh, Doane Basketball. I've heard that before." So I went onto Instagram, saw that Josh had recently just committed. So I was like, "Oh, cool." So I texted him back, called him. We had a long call for about probably 30 minutes. Then after that, called my parents, and I was pretty much set. I was really excited about it.
That's awesome. What surprised you about Lincoln?
Ooh.
I shouldn't say Lincoln. We're about Doane University in Nebraska in general.
It is a very small town for me.
Okay.
So, small town. Also, the weather, like in the winter and during the summer, you guys get some extreme colds and heat.
Yeah, it's a bit of you hear it all the time, but 4 seasons in one, 4 seasons in a week you can
Yeah.
potentially get. It could be a nightmare. I'll never forget. I'm from Northeast Nebraska. I think it was like 60s, 70s, beautiful the day before Halloween night, just snowing like crazy. It's one of those states. But now that you've been here, what are kind of some of your more favorite aspects, things that you didn't expect, but you're like, what, I kind of like this about Nebraska?
I do like it is a small town. I do really love the campus. I don't have a car myself, but in terms of getting places, like if you can get into Lincoln, like you've pretty much got everything here. Like you've got clothes, you've got like shopping malls, food, like pretty much everything. So I don't know about you.
Yeah, make sure you knew it all already.
Yeah, I mean, nothing too crazy. I mean, Elkhorn's a little bigger than Crete. But I think that was one thing I was really scared about coming in was like, am I really gonna be able to do this in a small town? Because the campus was great, but the town itself was small.
Yeah.
It's small, especially compared to Elkhorn.
There's not a lot.
But after a year, I like the small town feel.
Yeah, absolutely. And because I know we had one of our players from the school I'm from, Hartington Cedar Catholic, James Kaiser. I don't know if that probably wouldn't ring a bell. I think he was probably way before your guys' class. But yeah, I came up here, and I will say this, Doane is pretty facility wise, pretty beautiful place. I really do like the architecture. It's kind of, it's not like super flashy, brand new, but it's actually got some style to it. What are kind of your favorite things just around the campus at Doane?
Probably the nature. I mean,
yeah,
it's in a forest.
Campus.
Yeah,
they market it well too. If you go to their website, it's
do.
like, check it out. This is what you get to look at every day.
Just a bunch of great pictures of the sunset with the trees and the lake. And it's obviously a small campus. You can get from one end of the campus to the other in about 5 minutes on a bad day.
Yeah.
But so then you have to walk everywhere. There's not much parking, so you got to walk everywhere. But it's nice. You get to look around, see the old buildings, and it's nice. It's nice. It's a kind of a nice little distraction from from it all.
During last year as well, I haven't seen any this year, but there used to be a lot of deer on campus.
I can
So
see that.
we do have a lot of nature. But then over the summer this year, we got a new basketball court. They ripped up haddocks and laid a new floor. I think as well with the turf, they've also put new turf down as well. So
Oh man, so you guys are just upgrading across the board.
yeah, they're pumping a lot of money into facilities right now. So that's pretty good.
New dorm being built too.
Oh man,
Very expensive.
Yeah,
so the
that's why
money's
there's no
coming in
parking.
for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. What about what does the meal look like over at Doane? Pretty good meal program.
A lot better than it was last year.
Okay, so they're upgrading across the board.
Mhm.
So now's a good time. If Doane's on the
Yes.
watch list,
Yes.
go check it out. And then, so like, I was kind of hearing this from some of the other guys, some of the other Doane athletes, to play for Doane. I feel like Doane does a really good job about kind of finding those hidden gems. The guys that aren't always getting a ton of recruiting calls, those guys that, you see the passion. And I just heard that you guys had a woman wrestler that ended up going to the Olympics.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Doane, they got some talent on finding those hidden gems. So, for you guys, what is it like to kind of be part of that university where you're with a bunch of guys that they have the talent, but I'd imagine a lot of them probably have a chip on their shoulder too.
Mhm.
Not everyone at once.
I definitely feel basketball wise, we've got a lot of really I'm gonna say excited freshmen. Like our freshman class is pretty good. They're really eager to get going. But yeah, with the hidden gem thing, Coach McKeithen and Coach Tucker, like they can recruit some good guys.
That's what I realized. Like going through some of the athletes you guys have had, it's like these guys were from Doane. Like you wouldn't think that, and that's one of the things that's great about what DP is kind of doing, getting these voices out here. Is just kind of giving some respect. Some of these universities that do consistently, and and I don't want to, leave out the fine arts. Those guys, you give those guys credit too, but to find these great athletes that just were never given that opportunity, and you have some incredible ones that show up on big stages, professional Olympics. So it's always great to hear from these voices. But we got to go ahead and throw it to our first break. Again, this is the Doane Athlete Project here with Killian and Brandon, both from Doane basketball team. We'll throw it to break and catch you guys on the other side.
I'm Karen Carr. I've been a realtor for 31 years. When I made a company change 12 years ago, I chose Lincoln First Realty, now NP Dodge. It's the oldest independently owned realty company in the country. Since becoming NP Dodge, we've continued our tradition of community involvement. Our management and staff are always available to offer support in marketing, technology, social media, and educational opportunities.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
The dangers of secondhand smoke are well known. But what about secondhand aerosol, which is created when using e-cigarettes? Science already shows a secondhand aerosol can contain nicotine, heavy metals, and cancer-causing agents. Eliminating exposure to secondhand aerosol is an important step to keeping everyone safe. Breathe easier knowing the facts.
For help quitting, call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Safer than smoking, isn't it?
There's really not even that much nicotine in them, right?
One vape pod has as much nicotine as one pack of cigarettes.
My kid
knows it's dangerous. 5.4 million American kids vape, and most think it's harmless. Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org. That's talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Reading is an important key to student success. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. Take your young reader to the library, get some great books, sit down and read together, and help your more advanced readers find books they'll enjoy on their own. Also know that most public libraries let you borrow ebooks that can be downloaded to your smartphones, tablets, or laptops.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's me, your cell phone. We need to talk about something serious. I know you love me, I know you like using me wherever you are, but I feel like this isn't working out when you're driving. I know you may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here.
I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe and is the best way to protect that legacy.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job?
Not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
Or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? Or a 14-year-old girl who signs up to every after-school activity not to make friends, but just to get something to eat? Or a retiree who fell ill and had to choose
between getting medicine or groceries.
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew were hungry. I am hungered in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hi, it's Charlie Stone, and here with me is Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, I know the new Honda sales are going really good right now at Honda of Lincoln, and with that, a lot of fresh trade-ins are coming in. Can you tell our listeners about your pre-owned selection?
I'm happy to, Charlie. Like you said, with new Honda sales going very good, we have a lot of fresh trade-ins coming in daily, and not just Hondas. We have just about every maker model you can imagine, with over 100 pre-owned and certified pre-owned to choose from, and prices starting at just $5,900.
Wow, what about financing?
We have financing as low as 3.29% APR on certified Accords and CRV.
Thanks again, Andy. People love the selection and great service at Honda of Lincoln. Maybe it's time you come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into Ticket Weeknights. Again, I'm Harrison Arns running the 1s and 2s. We got Killian and Brandon both from Doane Basketball representing today. And again, if you guys want to join the show, 402-464-5685, streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Allo, channel 951. Plenty of ways to engage in the show. And again, those streams, best way to put a face to the voice. But I do want to keep this conversation going. We'll talk Doane, and then we'll go ahead and cross over to a little bit of NBA. But at this point in the season, obviously you guys are both part Doane basketball team. You know, right now, what is kind of the excitement to kind of get things going here? How's the team vibe feeling? How's the practices going? Where are you guys at on like, okay, let's get this season going?
Oh, the practices are so fun right now.
Yeah.
We have 3 teams. We go the white team, black team, and then skins.
Okay.
And usually, you would think, the starting 5 would beat up on the skins team, but no, like the skins team has actually been like holding up on their own. I'm on the skins team, by the way. But
shout out, represent skins.
Those Killian. But no, everybody's competing. It's really fun. Everyone's beating up on each other, but some days it gets a little heated. But sometimes you need a little bit of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of just builds character for a team. But also, like, we have the exhibition game here at in Lincoln coming up soon.
Yep, it's you, Doane. I think I keep saying you, Doane, Omaha, and obviously is that it? Is it just those 3 teams? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, coming up on October
29th. Yeah.
29th.
Yeah. So we're really excited for that. Obviously playing in a D1 facility, something we don't get to do all the time.
It's gonna be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but no, practice is, again, we've been really beating each other up at practice. Offense is coming together great. We're trying some new things defensively. We're going to try and guard a little bit higher out this year so we can slide into some more ball screens. So yeah, things are looking great. Again, really competitive at practice. We have had a couple times where we've had to take a little 5-minute break and just let everyone
Cool
relax
off.
a little bit. Yeah.
Separate some dudes.
Yeah.
That's good though. That means people care, right?
No, it's really competitive.
If everyone's, it's one of my biggest we're not going to talk NBA yet, but it's one of my biggest problems, like watching NBA today. It's like, you have Kyrie Irving saying to the Celtics, I'm coming back. He doesn't come back. Next year, he's on the Nets and he beats the brakes off you and you guys are all dapping hands, signing out. And I'm like, where's the competitive fire there? But it's good to see that. And I want to ask you this, Killian, give me the prototype of Brandon as a basketball player. Because if I ask Brandon, he's going to be too humble and vice versa.
So you might not think it, but Brandon's got some serious bounce.
Okay, no.
Yeah. So there was one game, a non-conference game that we went down to, and we played in Kansas the beginning of last year. It's probably like October time. And there was a big tournament game playing before us, but like during their halftime, we could go shoot, and we made layup lines, and there was a big crowd there, and Brandon was dunking like just normal 2-hand rim grazers, whatever, and then the crowd starts hyping him up, and he starts throwing it off the backboard and stuff. I'm like, oh damn, Brandon can jump. And then I was like, hey, Brandon, hit a windmill for me. So goes up, gets his head pretty much at the rim, whips that thing around, and dunks it so hard. Like he had bruises all across his wrist and stuff. But so yeah, Brandon can dunk. Very shifty guard, great in ball screens, got a nice little pull-up game. Good from 3 as well, especially if he gets his feet set. Defensively, I don't know. We've got some tough guys to guard in our offense. So but as far as I can see, yeah, he's pretty good. Slide his feet quite well, get your chest on people. So.
How tall are you, Brandon?
6 feet tall.
Yeah.
And he says it looked like his head was getting to the rim.
He'll meet you at the rim. Don't worry about that.
This is what I'm talking about. Diamonds in the rough here. That's insane. That is a crazy dunk pack. When did you realize you have the hops? Because I feel like genetically, that's always something that, did you have to work, really hard to like keep bumping up that number? Or was that something you're just like, you know what? Thank you, God. I got hops.
So going back to my dad, he was 5'7". He's 5'7". He could dunk back in the day before he messed up his knees. So I think that's where a lot of my bounce came from. Obviously, I had to work a little bit for it, but it was just a God-given talent, like you said.
Man, that's insane. Is that probably like one of your favorite things to do when you show up to a gym? Just get up there because no one's expecting it.
Warm-ups is so fun. Just love seeing the faces on people. They don't expect a 6-foot Asian kid to dunk. So
what's your go-to dunk package?
Oh,
because I'm 6'2" and mine was a rim grazer, which is sad to say.
You've been getting that little drop step in at practice.
Yeah, a little bit. I guess just two-hand, just a regular two-hand dunk. That usually
make sure it's safe.
Yeah.
Through.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. That's probably the one the coach wants to hear too. So if he's
For
listening,
sure.
he probably loves that answer. Give me the prototype. Killian, basketball player. What do you see in him?
Oh yeah. Okay. So just a big post who can get his way around in the post, but also can, shoot the 3 ball a little bit. Great defender, communicates well, communicates a lot. which is something I appreciated, especially last year coming in as a freshman.
Oh yeah, especially when you got to have those bigs do that.
Oh yeah,
because
for
they're
sure.
seeing everything from their end of the point
Yeah.
or end of the court.
Biggest pet peeve as a guard, getting hit by a screen that a big didn't communicate.
Mm-hmm.
Killian usually will communicate it, so don't ever have to worry about that. But can also he can defend on ball too, like out in the perimeter.
Okay, at 6'8",
Yeah,
that's a problem.
Yeah,
I've been working on sliding my feet a bit more.
but yeah, he's pretty all around, if I do say so myself.
Okay, so that's your guys' kind of prototypes right now. What would you consider the strengths of the team? What I'm hearing is depth. Seems like depth, considering you got 3 teams and they're all pushing each other pretty consistently. I feel like depth's probably one of them. But what are some other things you guys are seeing in this team that you're confident and you're hoping to see once that season starts?
Execution. That's something that coach talked about a lot last year, especially with our offense. Everybody needs to be in the right spots. We need to know what's going on. But I have a feeling we're going to execute a lot better this year. We're going to get a lot of wide open threes from our clusters. Even intensity on defense. We're bringing that this year. We're guarding higher, more intense, talking more. So yeah,
I think one of the big things that we've been stressing this year, and we've gotten a lot better, is trusting each other.
Yeah,
and whether that be on offense or defense, like defense, if somebody's gonna stunt for you, if you stunt for this guy, or if for offense, if someone's gonna run the play right, and that kind of just goes along with the execution. Those two things go hand in hand, and I think that's really helping us a lot through this preseason, and I'm really excited to see what we can do once the season gets going.
Yeah, guys are more unselfish this year as well. Like we're sharing the ball, running our offense 2-3 sides maybe, and just making sure like if we get a wide open shot at the start of the offense, it's going to be there at the end. But I mean, if we can make teams work for 25, 30 seconds on defense, really tire them out, and then hit a 3, like that kills teams. So
yeah, absolutely. That's always that is draining on a team. And again, speaking about the defense, having that communication, everyone being in sync. The Warriors, when they had that glory run, with Draymond Green, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, which is crazy to say, at one point in time, you looked at that defense, it was like in sync every single time. And obviously Draymond Green, one of the best help defenders, but it's crazy how far you can go if everyone on defense is in sync. Just kind of keeping the conversation going here. You talked about a little bit of the jump of talent. When you got to Doane, how hard was it to kind of get those X's and O's down? It's a step up. Maybe, it wasn't too much of a step up, kind of depending on where you guys come from. Every coach is a little different, but, how long did it take for you guys to be like, okay, I'm kind of comfortable in this system that coach is having us run?
For me, it took a while. Like I'm a third year now, so I played a little bit last year, but even still, last year I didn't know all the plays. So there's a lot of stuff that we run, a lot of stuff that we need to execute. So it's taken a while to adjust to running triangle and running C. It's a hard offense to run, but I think when you get it right, when you can run it, it's a beautiful offense to watch. So
yeah, it took me a little bit too. It should take everybody at least a couple of weeks to at least get down where you're supposed to go, what you're supposed to do in that spot, and that's normal. I mean, we designate the first couple of weeks just for freshmen or transfers to learn the offense, and it's just because it's so complex. But once you get it down, there's so many options that come out of it, and that's really gonna be troubling for the teams that we play against.
So is the coach kind of like giving you guys, I don't want to say like pro style, but kind of in a system where you're gonna have, this is the set play to get it going, but off of every action, you're going to have X, Y, Z reads every single time. And it's up to you guys to figure it out.
We've got like 4 or 5 reads off everything.
So how does that,
what happens?
how do you guys like start to get comfortable with that? When is that like clicking where it's like, okay, I'm trusting myself, I'm making the right reads. You're always not going to be perfect. You're going to keep playing the game. So, how is it kind of getting comfortable to the point where you're just trusting your reads and it's becoming more and more instinctual?
It's just reps. You just got to play it. I mean, practice, you just got to go up and down. You have to make mistakes. Like you got to throw that wrong pass a couple times to know that it's not there. But one thing that really helped me out this year, in preseason we did film sessions the night before, and then we'd have shooting groups and we'd talk about the specific action or whatever we wanted to do on the night before, and then that Tuesday or the shooting groups we'd come down and we'd break it down and we run that like specific section of the offense. And we get shots out of it. So even just doing that and just running it through and just getting reps, like your body's just in, if you don't have to think about where you need to be and what you got to do, like you can see so much more. Like the game just opens up for you.
And it was great to see because like obviously you have the freshmen learning the offense, but at some point you could see the freshmen like really start getting it. And if somebody makes a mistake, they would correct and like step up as a leader. And it was great to see.
That's awesome. Yeah, if you don't have that leadership, teams just don't go very far. Talking to Raph about the Broncos on that one, but moving on here. So, at this point, obviously, season's rolling up. You guys are getting excited for it. Give us a little bit of a scouting report on some of the guys on your team. Best 3-point shooter. And if you got some honorable mentions where it's like it's an argument between a few guys, that's fair.
It could be tough this year, actually. I don't know. We have a lot of guys that could shoot the ball.
Brady Tim,
yeah.
Sniper, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, sniper, and his mid range is insane. His mid range game is
Brady
nuts.
him.
Yeah.
I like that mid range. That's I'll tell you what. That is to me always the greatest NBA players. That is something they have.
Mm-hmm.
They're always going to have a mid range game. College too. I mean, you look at Timmy. What he was in college, he was a mid range killer. That's good to know though. Mid range is still alive over at Doane.
And we also have a freshman coming in, River. From North Platte, River Johnston.
Yep.
When he first came here, I was like, interesting pickup. But once I saw him playing in front of me, like we had some pickup sessions going on. The way he controls the pace of the game, the way that he controls his body, it's amazing. Just to see as a freshman, he has so much confidence, and it's amazing to see.
Yeah, we've also got a transfer, Cam Binder as well. He's really stepped up. He's been a leader for us as well, especially in practice. And again, as Brandon said about the pace, like slowing us down in transition, making sure everybody's in the right spots, ready to go. Like that's big for us.
You always hear that a lot. Like every team wants to play fast.
Mm-hmm.
What's the right way to do that? How do you keep up pace without getting sloppy, turning the ball over? Because you see that all the time. I rarely hear a coach say we want to play slow. Maybe some more of the Big Ten teams, that's their identity. But what is kind of your guys' identity? Are you up and down the court, or do you like to slow things down and put a lot of pressure on the opposing team's defense?
I mean, we'll definitely run the fast break, but if not, we'll dribble the ball up the court.
So you're cool with if you got a half court set.
Yeah, we'll make you guard 30 seconds.
Okay,
like we're happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Best athlete on the team. Is it you, Brandon? I mean, with that vertical, I'm wondering.
I mean, I got a vertical, but Brady Tim also has a vertical.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Right now, between a dunk contest, between you two.
Brandon. Yeah.
Brandon? Okay. What about speed? Fastest guy on the team.
Ben's pretty quick. Nick's also pretty quick.
Yeah.
There's
that's a coin flip.
A
coin flip.
There's a lot of guys that could be in that conversation.
Yeah, Ben Renshaw, he's the guy that you always got to look out for when you're on offense, because you grab a rebound and you think you're good, and next he just comes up behind you out of nowhere and just pokes it out. And
he's a killer rebounder. He'll just fly in for stuff as well. He'll come out of nowhere.
He jumps pretty high too. He's been dunking.
Yeah, he'll jump over a 7 foot and try and grab rebounds as well. He doesn't care.
No regards.
No.
All right, and then this one I always like to preface this because the post moves, they're always going to win this one. Best guard player with the best post moves. Or you shouldn't even just say post moves, like finishing around the rim ability. Like for that guard, when they get in the trees, doesn't seem to be a problem for him despite the height difference.
You could talk about Brady in that as well, but
verticality probably helps him with that one.
I think Rivers been doing pretty well too, finishing around the rim.
Nick's had a couple good finishes this week as well. To be fair, all our guards, they'll go flying into people.
And that's just something that we practice too in our shooting groups.
Okay.
Yeah.
Making sure everyone's a threat out there.
Yeah, we had a whole day of just guards doing post moves one day. So, we stress the bunnies. Got to make the bunnies.
I'd love to see that, because again, that is always one of the things that infuriates me is you see these. You got a guard that is obviously a way better post player than his opposing guard can defend it. It's like, put him in the post. I don't care if he's the guard. It's like if you put him down there and pull the center out, I mean, that's still a mismatch, even if it plays the guard position. But real quick, you guys said you're NBA fans. What are your NBA teams? We got Mavericks. Killian, you got one?
Yeah, the Bulls.
The Bulls, let's go. I kind of want to, talk to you guys a little bit about some NBA action, and we'll tie in some Doane stuff as well. But we got to go ahead and throw it to our second break, and we'll go ahead into our final segment of the Doane Athlete Project. Again, I'm Harrison running the 1s and 2s. We got Killian and Brandon both in studio here today representing Doane basketball. We'll catch you guys in a little bit.
Hey, it's me, your cell phone. We need to talk about something serious. I know you love me. I know you like using me wherever you are, but I feel like this isn't working out when you're driving. I know you may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
First, I hold my hands out like they're on a steering wheel. Then I look over my shoulder. Next, I put it in reverse. Beep, beep, beep.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends, surprise parties, camps, birthdays. The same way you plan for the important moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza, the big one, all the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends, surprise parties, camps, birthdays. The same way you plan for the important moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's me, your cell phone. We need to talk about something serious. I know you love me. I know you like using me wherever you are, but I feel like this isn't working out when you're driving. I know you may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor. Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it. Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People Seeding Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job,
not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
Or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? Or a 14-year-old girl who signs up to every after-school activity, not to make friends, but just to get something to eat? Or a retiree who fell ill and had to choose
between getting medicine or groceries.
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew were hungry. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment of the Doane Athlete Project here with Killian and Brandon, both from Doane Basketball. We don't got a ton of time here left, so real quick, we'll go ahead and dive into it. Killian, you're a Chicago Bulls fan. Not necessarily what I'd pick considering you're from Ireland, Dublin, but nonetheless, how did that happen? Who was that player or who was that coach, that team? You know, what sold you on being a Chicago Bulls fan?
Oh, it was actually my uncle. So he was a huge Chicago Bulls fan during when Jordan was playing. So he gave me like a whole lot of hats and jerseys when I was younger, and then it's kind of set from there, really.
Yeah, it's sick gear. Easy to get sold on the Bulls gear.
Yeah. I do love Zach LaVine, though. And I did like Lonzo Ball when he played as well for them, but
yeah, that's a real bummer. The Lonzo Ball thing. I'm still watching him in media day with his uniform on. I was almost like sad because that season, I don't know how much you were paying attention to it, but there was a stretch where I was like, oh, the Bulls, they could make some noise, and then everyone starts getting hurt. Bulls point guards, you can name them. A lot of them get hurt. But Brandon, you mentioned it, Mavericks fan.
Yep.
Nah, that's not one I hear a lot. How'd that happen?
So, my dad.
Okay.
But I think the one player that really made me stick with the Mavericks, like I said earlier, Jason Terry. And I think initially, because I didn't know much about basketball back then, I just thought it was cool that he wore a headband. I thought the headbands were the coolest things ever. But then I started watching him. He's hitting all these threes and has the amazing performance in the 2011 finals against the big three, the Heat. And I was like, yep, this is my team. This is, yeah.
I think it's the first time I've ever heard Jason Terry. He's why. But he's a good player. I'm glad you brought him up. Underrated. He gets forgot. I think when people think of Mavericks, they just go to Dirk. And I kind of forget about all the other great players that came out of there. So you guys still watch a ton of NBA? Or at this point, I mean, imagine with college, I don't know what your schedules look like. Or is that someone that's kind of had to take a little bit of a backseat for you?
Being in Ireland and England, we never really had NBA games like that. So I did watch a lot during the bubble. But normally I'll just watch highlights or something. If I have 5 minutes or 10 minutes, I'll just watch highlights if there's been any games on.
Yeah, which makes sense for you. That time frame, no one's getting up that. It was like me when I was trying to watch Premier League soccer. I did it for like a week, and I'm like, this is brutal getting up.
The
this
time
early.
difference is tough.
Yeah. And what about you? Kind of just that point in time where, are you still super into the Mavericks, or is that kind of falling off a little bit in the backseat?
I'm still super into the Mavericks, especially after that year when we made it to the conference finals. Yeah.
So I think you guys beat the Clippers.
No, I think first
that's not
round,
the bubble then, right?
No, that's not the bubble. We lost in the bubble. We beat the Utah Jazz and then beat down on the Phoenix Suns in Game 7.
Oh, that's right. That was a rough game if you were a Suns fan.
Oh yeah.
And I love Chris Paul, so that one hurt to watch. I'm not gonna lie.
And then ended up falling to the Warriors in the conference finals. But yeah, I try to catch every game when I can. It's kind of hard because not every Mavs game gets streamed, but I really try and catch every Mavs game because I really love watching them, even if they're not doing too hot, which it's kind of been the reality for the last couple of.
Okay, so since you're still plugged in, I'll ask you this, and then we'll go ahead and shout out when your guys' home opener is for Doane Basketball. But since you're a big Mavericks fan, and you're plugged in still, can Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic make it work?
Yes.
I think so, yeah.
They can make it work. I genuinely think
Is the probable.
I know the ceiling's up here, but we saw from the last half of the season the floor is on the bottom, the deepest depths of the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
But if these two can check their egos a little bit and make sure that there's two dudes on the team now, which I think Kyrie can easily do.
He played with LeBron. We saw
LeBron and KD and James Harden.
Yeah.
As long as I think if Luka can do that too, I think it will be smooth sailing, especially with all the nice complementing role players that we built around them this offseason.
Absolutely. Before we get out of here, I do want to go ahead and shout out you guys' home opener. We said it before, season's coming right around the corner. You guys are excited. Things in practice are getting intense, which is always good to hear.
Yeah.
So who was that first game and what time, what day?
It is against Union College on October 26th at 7 p.m. at the Haddix Recreational Center.
Absolutely. You heard it there from Brandon. Be sure to check that out. And again, you can always just go to their website. I don't know what you guys' website is off the top of my head, but if you go to Doane University, Google will have it on the top. Easy to find. So go ahead, check it out. Be sure to support those guys. And again, thank you to Killian and Brandon for coming in today for the Doane Athlete Project. That's going to be it for us and Take a Weeknights. We will talk to you guys tomorrow.